poll conducted by, I guess it's pronounced Ipsos, IPSOS, surveyed Americans, Ipsos, surveyed Americans from the general population and the population of those who have served on juries in the past 10 years to learn attitudes towards various aspects of the criminal justice system. The poll found that former jurors were more likely than the general population to trust in the criminal justice system as a whole, including attorneys across all fields, judges, and state and local law enforcement. They also had nearly 20% more favorable view of their fellow citizens serving on juries than their peers. 76% of former jurors reported a great deal or a fair amount of trust in jurors compared to 58% of non-jurors, the highest level of trust across both groups for all legal positions discussed. But Americans are much less optimistic about former President Donald Trump's chances of receiving an impartial jury in one of the cases against him relating to his alleged illegal retention of classified documents. Only the documents case, one of the 4 ongoing trials against a former president, was asked about in the survey. Now, remember, the documents case is the one in Florida. And 70% don't think. What do you think the number is in D.C.? Is there a number that could be higher than 100? I don't think so. In the survey, 1,017 members of the general population, those who haven't served on a jury in the past 10 years, were asked, if the cases against Donald Trump go to trial, how confident are you, if at all, that the court will be able to find and seat jurors willing to put aside their prior beliefs about Donald Trump and decide the case based on the evidence presented? 71% of those said they were not confident, including 30% who said they were not at all confident of this outcome, and 41% who said they were not too confident about an impartial jury. Only 28% expressed confidence that President Trump's jurors could put aside their past perspectives. In the majority of those answering this way, 23% said they were only somewhat confident of this outcome. Only 5%, which is, again, I know we're not talking about D.C., we're talking about Florida, but you can just imagine what the D.C. numbers would be. 5% is about what doesn't vote Democrat in Washington, D.C. 5% said they were confident that Trump could receive an unbiased jury. So when you see the judge yesterday and you read Julie Kelly and you look at the transcript, she put the entire transcript out today of what the judge said in the courtroom yesterday, some of which is, just head-shakingly biased. This is why they want to be there first. This is, again, I compare it to the Newt Gingrich phone call. I am sure, I would bet the farm that there has been a phone call like that regarding this situation. Mm-hmm. This is what has to happen. This is what we need to do, and this is the time frame we have to do it. That's it. End of story. And they're going to do whatever they have to do it. And the judge is going to rule the roost, and every single motion that she's going to rule on, you're going to see what's going to happen. This is what concerns me. When people say, well, I'll never get to that. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Because to me, the game plan is very clear. They go to the most left-wing, bombastic judge they could find, Obama appointed, who's already proving herself to be a bomb thrower. What she said in that courtroom, read the transcript. Go to Julie Kelly's Substack. She said, instead of me interpreting this is what she basically said today in her article. She said, you know what? I was going to try to interpret this and put a big article out. I could never do it justice, so why don't you just read the transcript yourself? And then she went to Scribe and basically just posted the whole thing, word for word, what the judge said. Her comparisons to the 9/11 terrorists, her scolding of the Trump judges saying, well, you need all this time to go 12 million documents, to look at the job that the government has done. I'm so impressed with what they've done. How can this not be clear to anybody what's going on here?
Yeah, and the crazy part is when you hear people go, well, speedy trial. Speedy trial is for the defendant, you dopes. Anybody who's out there touting, well, it's got to be a speedy trial, that's the defendant has a right to a speedy trial. Learn what you're talking about first. And most times, almost every time, according to the numbers, the defendants waive that right to a speedy trial. Why? Because they want this delayed as long as possible to get as much evidence as they can that could show them to come up as not guilty. So anybody sitting there going, "Oh, speedy trial," doesn't know what they're talking about. It's not for the judge and the prosecutor to say we need a speedy trial on this. That is a protection for the defendant.